SpongeBob, why don't you ever make videos with your glasses on? So here it is. This is what I look like in real life. What's up, genetic failures? It's me, back at it again with another Endmyopia 4-month update. In this video, I'm going to share some tips to help you avoid making some of these huge mistakes that I just made for the past 4 months. So stick around. So, you know, I reduced massively too quickly the first time around, but I'm happy to report that for the last 4 months, I've been reducing too quickly again. Although not nearly as dramatically, but I have been reducing too quickly. My starting point after the end of season 1 of reducing too quickly was 475 and 375, and I built that down. I got to 425 and 325, and then I decided to go further down to 375 and 275. And obviously I made a video at -4 and -3. You can go watch that if you want. Reduced too quickly again, but you know. Naturally, I didn't forget to make a bunch of silly forum posts where I told the entire world that this was the right normalized for me all along and how these reductions were right and justified. I'll share all of that later in the video, but for now, I want to talk about 2 things you should probably bear in mind when you're doing your reductions. Or at least the principles I am definitely going to follow moving forward. This is all based on super duper hardcore Jake Steiner Endmyopia trademark patent pending information that I read more than a year ago. It's just that something needed to hit me in the face for me to realize this stuff, and it all has to do with clarity of your vision. So Jake tells you, reduce 0.25 below what you need to see for 2020. It sounds simple, but once you fall into this rabbit hole, perhaps it becomes a little muddled and complicated. My number 1 tip for you is, well, after you find active focus anyway, that should obviously be your priority. But once you found active focus, tip number 1 is reduce to the highest possible correction that you can still active focus with. Let me set the scene. So an optician gave me a -4.5 in my right eye in April this year. And naturally, if you're doing a 0.25 reduction, just going to 425 as I'm wearing now would have been sufficient. However, when you believe your own hype and you get caught up in all of that, you might end up reducing too quickly, but you really gotta not do that. My solution is wear the absolute highest correction where you can still active focus to make a tangible improvement in your eyesight. I mean, okay, active focus, it makes your eyes see better, okay? On -4.5, and I tested this today, right? I cannot active focus at all. I cannot improve my vision using active focus. My vision doesn't change. On this exact pair of glasses, the 425s, I can improve my vision using active focus. So this is the highest correction that I can wear that I can still do active focus with. You don't need to go any lower than that. 0.25 underneath 2020. My second tip for not reducing too quickly is, well, you know when you go and get your eyes tested and the optician puts 2 lenses over your eyes, or flips between the 2, I should say, and she says, oh, is it better with number 1 or is it better with number 2? Number 1, number 2, number 1. When she does that, right, ask yourself when you're deciding your next pair of normalized, is what you're going to wear either a 1 or a 2? Is it something an optician would reasonably put in front of your eyes for an exam? The optician only does this 1 and 2 thing when it's a 0.25 difference, right? They'll never put some stupidly low thing in front of your eyes unless they're starting from scratch, right? So they're only trying to precision tune this. And you're looking for that sort of optician level of sharpness when you're making your reductions. You don't want something you wouldn't see after an eye exam. So they'll say, is 1 sharper than 2 or is 2 better, right? And let's say 2 is sharper and 1 is slightly less sharp, but still pretty sharp, right? In an eye exam, you'd go with 2 because it's the stronger lens, but you should go with number 1 because it's just slightly weaker and that seems perfect, right? It's a 0.25 difference. If you're seeing blur, just forget about it, right? Go up. So those are my 2 tips. Make sure you wear the highest possible correction you can still active focus with, and hopefully your lens in number 2 is something you would see in an eye exam. If you wouldn't walk out of an optician wearing that piece of lens conceivably, don't do it. It should really correct you just enough so there's a bit of stimulus, but seriously, no more, no more. Active focus should be really easy. You can active focus with less. It's a lot more work and there's no reason to do it because it won't improve your eyesight any quicker. And this will improve your gains by, this is the most important thing you can get, right? After you do your active focus, you figured that out, you fixed your close-up habits by wearing differentials. This is it, right? Reducing too quickly, in my experience, has been like a nuclear bomb for my improvements. So avoiding this will really help you out. So here I just want to challenge the use of eye charts in general, and personally, I think they're a bit rubbish, I'll be honest. Like you can read lines lower than what you're supposed to read with much lower reductions, and it's just blurry letters, but you can still read it, so it's fine, right? Sure, it's a bit of memory, but you will remember the eye chart, like that's a matter of fact. As well as the fact you can just make out the characters even with the blur. So use the eye chart for acuity, I'll be honest. I personally am only going to reduce when we get like crisp, clear sort of text on the eye chart. I'm going to remember the acuity of what did work in the past and what doesn't work now. And I'm just refining that at the moment. Next, I'd also like to show you a little bit of what I was thinking at the time when I was going through all these reductions. I log all of this stuff pretty religiously on the forums, so here you go. On the 23rd of April, I said, okay, time to reduce to -4, -3. So that like marks the beginning. And I also uploaded a video the day after, right? This marks the beginning of reducing too quickly. And ironically, I say, oh, I'm aiming to make the next reduction the one where I don't reduce too quickly. You already did it, right? And furthermore, on the 15th of May, I say, damn, that's some good vision with these normalized. I mean, look, we've been there and we've done that, right? Blur adaptation, it can be subtle, it can be very big. There's also a combination of too much self-belief going into that, right? But it was very subtle, to say the least. Like on -4 in my right eye, it was the subtle sort of blur adaptation. Like you couldn't, like tree leaves and stuff weren't as clear. They weren't like optician grade sharp. They were still blurry to an extent, but really small blur. So you thought, oh, maybe my eyes will get better and that'll be fine. And text was okay as well, because obviously when you get blur adaptation, high contrast stimuli such as black text on a white background becomes clearer. So it was just a more subtle form of blur adaptation, which I've gone through before, as well as a lot of self-belief, which I go through all the time. On the 4th of June, I go down to -375 and 275, and it's like, oh, getting those subtle improvements, like, yeah, blur adaptation, right? And then the 25th of June, I'm like, oh, no way, I'm going back to -4 and -3. On 12th of July, I say, all right, that's enough. -375, I'm going in. 12th of July. -375, without a doubt, the correct normalized for me now. Dear, oh dear. I mean, I'm a big fan of superlatives, aren't I? It's not all doom and gloom though. So after the end of season 1, I was on 475 in my right eye, and at the time that was a nice pair of glasses. Like I had that blur horizon or whatever, it was good, and it was a conservative reduction. Conservative! It was kind of like the reduction I'm doing right now. It was pretty good, like I could see clearly, optician levels of clearness with active focus. That's what you're after. I'm happy to report that while 475 was a nice, lovely, dovely pair of glasses to wear at one point, now they kill. It's too powerful. I put them on, I got some serious eye strain, I couldn't even bear it. And on 4.5, it's a 20/20 correction, just like the optician said when I got my eyes tested. So there has been a definite improvement. It's not all negative, but I might have made a lot more improvement if I hadn't been reducing too quickly. I'll be straight up real with you. I think the vast majority of people, if they find myopia, they either don't read it properly, or they apply it and then don't try and change things, or they do something wrong and then it doesn't work. The only reason I know I'm going to get back to 2020 is because I'm gut-throat determined and I keep coming back hungry for more. There's no way I am quitting. I mean, if the same pair of plastic that I used to wear was fine and now it kills to wear because it's too strong and I get overcorrection, like that means it's working. It does work, it's just I keep doing things wrong along the way, so it doesn't work as effectively. So yeah, anyone who's like quitting myopia or going over to some other baloney, I mean, just don't, okay? I mean, you can, I'm not stopping you, but seriously, it works. At the end of the day, that's the conclusion. This does work, it's just I keep doing things wrong, so it hasn't worked as effectively. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, hope it helps you out. Subscribe, thanks for 1,000 subscribers, guys. I'll see you in the next one.